Okay, hi Bruce, how you going? Thanks
Yeah,
for
good.
coming out to us today.
Yeah, good. Thanks,
See about the
Todd.
property. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I've had some time to have a bit of a walk around outside and inside and have a look at the property, and I'm pretty impressed with the property. I think it's got a number of good features and a couple of standout areas. I thought the main bedroom is very, very good. It's big, it's spacious, it's airy, it's quite bright, a lot of windows, and I think that'll appeal to people. The bathrooms I don't know if you've renovated them in the foreseeable future, but they're very modern and they're very clean and well equipped, and a lot of people look at those sorts of areas as being important. And last but by no means least, I was very impressed with the kitchen. A lot of buyers look at the kitchen as an area where they spend a lot of time, and it's very well set out. I can see it's a very usable kitchen. It's very livable, and the appliances are all look modern and new, and that stainless look appeals to people. So I think that there's no real problems to looking at that property.
Okay,
So
that's fantastic. Thanks for that.
yeah, so Todd, I've got a number of questions that I need to just ask so we can try and get a feel for where we're heading from with this appointment today.
Okay.
First of all, have you got any ideas of timing, when you want to put the house on the market, and your goals or objectives in that area?
We're looking right away, right, Bruce? So, yeah, right away.
Okay, that's good. Do you have an idea of price? Have you thought through prices or?
No, well, that's why we got you out here to kind of have a bit of a look and assessment of what it might be. We don't know what the market's at right now, so we're just waiting on your expertise.
Yeah, sure. Well, I've got some feedback on that, which I'll share with you shortly because I've done a
Okay.
bit of research. How long have you owned the place, Todd?
About 30 years.
Right, so it's a long, long time. So you've
It
seen a lot of
is.
changes in the neighbourhood,
Yes.
and you'll have seen a lot of changes in the pricing in the neighbourhood when
Yeah.
we get down to that
Yeah,
side
of
things.
course, yeah.
What's motivating you to decide to go to market now?
Well, our kids are all now out of the house, so we're empty nesting. So we're looking at moving to the city. So the wife and I decided we wanted to, get our own smaller place and less work to do.
Yeah, we're finding that a lot, and actually the good thing about it is that that's opening up the market, because the reasons you bought a house in this area 30 years ago really haven't significantly changed. So that's also good from a buyer's perspective, because other people are looking at buying for that reason that you did years ago. And how quick is there an urgency involved in this, or is there any particular? Have you got
Yeah.
any vision of how quickly?
Yeah, we would like to sell in the next couple, immediately as soon as possible, and that way we can kind of move on and get on with our life.
Right. Okay. Well, that's great. That's good information. So I can go through and deal with that. A couple of other questions I've had when I went looking around the property is that I did notice that you've put a very extensive deck out the back. It's very impressive. It's a great area for entertaining.
Yes.
But just need one of the very first questions anyone's going to ask when they come and do an inspection, and then when we actually get onto a building inspection, if it's required, is they are going to want to see that it was properly approved and you've got the certification for the deck.
We got all the council approval. We got all the paperwork that you need for that council approval, and the builder's information, everything there, and the warranties on it as well.
Okay, that's great. So we will need that down the road. So that's
Okay.
great that you've got and that you can get it. Is there anything else about the property any other important features or changes that you've done that I need to know about that might come up?
That's it, mate. That's it, Bruce. That's all we have right now. Just a quick question, Bruce. What market influences are likely to affect the listing?
Right. The things at the moment. It's a good question again. The things that we're finding at the moment that are driving up listings in the area, and it is a fairly good time, is there's two things. There seems to be more buyers than there are sellers, so
Right.
demand's becoming a bit of an issue,
Okay.
and an issue which is a great situation if you're a seller. Not more as attractive if you're a buyer, but and the other thing we're finding is that because interest rates are so low, at the moment there's a lot more people that are being able to afford to get into the marketplace,
Right, okay.
and it's opening up a different demographic for the
Sure.
buyers.
Okay. Just a couple questions, Bruce. What would you recommend that we could make to the property to obviously get to the value and the price that we want for the property?
Sure. Look, it's quite often the little things, Todd, that make a difference. So you don't invariably you don't need to spend a lot of money to make a noticeable difference. Street appeal is probably the number one thing, because it's the first thing that when people pull up to the street and they see the house from the outside before they
Sure.
even go in. It's amazing the number that sort of already get a preconceived idea of whether they like the house or not before
Yeah.
they even walk through the door. So I'd probably recommend that, some work around the gardens, maybe some specific planting, driveways clean and spotless, those sorts of things are good. when I walked through the house, I did notice in a number of areas, although the house is presented very well, there were a number of areas where I felt that, you know, just a coat of paint would it would enhance and brighten up some of the areas, in particular a couple of the bedrooms that we looked at. So it's not a big expense, but it'll freshen the place up, and people will look at it and go, it's something we don't have to do. So it'll be a positive, not a negative. And one thing that we're finding now a lot of people are doing is they're actually employing people to come and do styling in the property.
Oh,
so
okay.
that doesn't cost a lot of money, because basically someone comes in, they style your property, they set it all up. Once it's sold, then they move on to another job.
Right.
So I think you know, if we could build something like that in, it makes it more attractive to buyers.
Okay, that's really good to know. So, Bruce, what do you reckon we should list the property for?
Yeah, Todd, good question. We started earlier on prices, and look, we've done a fair bit of research in the area, and what we've done is tried to consider similar properties to yours. We've looked at most recent sales, and we probably don't go back any more than about 6 months, because it gets into a different market to what we've got now.
Sure.
And we all look at similar properties that are on the market right now that we're going to have to compete with in the market to sell your property. So once we look at that, we come up with an appraisal of where we think we can genuinely place your property,
Yeah.
and make it so that it is attractive to buyers. And to that extent, we think that your property is probably in the area of $750,000 in the current market.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Just with regards to that, do you think we should put the property on the market for about $200,000 more than what that is? Because that way, if we're going in negotiation, we have to reduce it, whatnot.
Yeah, look, Todd. We hear that a bit as well. The problem with that is that the simple answer to your thoughts on that is that no, we don't agree with that.
Right.
And the main problem with that is that if you list the property significantly more than what we believe the market will support, then you're not going to be in the same market as the prices that we're suggesting you should sell. So what I'm saying by that is, if you decided that we think that your house genuinely is in that 730 to 750 price bracket, and you list it for 950, then the buyers that are going to be looking in the 730 to 750 price bracket aren't going to look at your property because
Right.
it's too expensive.
Gotcha.
And then if you're putting yourself up against properties that are really 950 or thereabouts, then they're probably going to be more appealing. So the problem you've got is that we're losing potential buyers by overpricing, and we're going into a market that your house wouldn't really fit into in this area. So no, I strongly suggest that we stay at the price that we believe the market will determine that the house could sell at.
Okay, fantastic.
Method of sale.
Not marketing activities.
Method
So,
of sale.
what appropriate methods do you think we should use to sell the property?
Well, I think that that realistically, you've got options. As you'll see, there's a lot of people who look at auctions, especially at the moment. It seems to be very popular. However, that's not our preferred method of sale.
Yeah.
We prefer a private treaty arrangement, and that lets us spend more time speaking with customers and potential buyers. It puts us in a situation that we do open homes, we market the property, and we end up in a situation where ultimately we'll get an offer. We'll then be able to negotiate with that person.
Yeah.
With the true outcome of what we're trying to do is we want to sell the property for you. So we want to find a buyer. We want to have a happy buyer. We want to have a happy seller. But we want to negotiate a position that you're attractive with. So that's where I'd be going with that at this point in time.
And what do you propose to? How do you propose to sell the property, marketing wise?
Okay, well, our marketing, we've tried and tested, and we've found it's worked for many years, is that we use a number of areas. Once we agree in principle to go forward,
Yeah.
and our normal marketing very successfully includes using the internet online. We use realestate.com. We find that the majority of buyers will initially look in the internet to find out if there's any new listings or if there's anything in a specific area before they even go any further. There are a number of people that still like the old-fashioned drive around and see what's going on, especially if they live in the same area. So we find signboards
Yes.
are also acceptable. Once we've actually done that, we usually, with you, work out a series of open homes so that people can actually physically come and do an inspection They can fit it into their week. They know what's happening, and they can come in and have a look at their leisure. And we also find that, especially with a property like yours, that we do actually have buyers, we have repeat buyers, we have investors that we have on our database. So we would very early in the program address whether there is a market in our database already, and we do that by direct calling direct calling clients if we believe that the property will appeal to them, and also sometimes emailing an email basis to our database to let them know that there's a new property on the market.
And on the internet,
So that's the way we'd head with that.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. What types of fees are you charging for your services, Bruce?
Well, good question, and something we have to get out in the open early. But look, we believe we provide a significant service. We provide state-of-the-art facilities and our ability to help achieve the sale, because that's what we're here for. Yeah. And obviously that brings in what we've got to do to try and promote your property. So we would do a marketing campaign, as we sort of discussed before. We would anticipate, based on what we're proposing here, that we'd need a budget of about $3,500 to do that. And then once we are running that, we would then monitor that on a regular basis. We'd report back to you on any activity that's come through the internet or through our database, and we'd come back to you after all the open houses to let you know what sort of interest and feedback we got and how many people were in attendance. The commission, Todd, straightforward. Our agency charges 3.5% commission on sale.
Okay. Bruce, there's some talk in the real estate side of things that you hear that some real estate agencies are only charging 1.5%, to be able to for commissions on selling our property. Is there any ability to be able to reduce your fees on commission?
Look, Todd, it's again a good but common question. The only way you can really negotiate fees is also if you negotiate service. And the simple situation is that we've already explained to you what our services are going to be, what we're going to provide, the work we're going to do for you. We really want to work hard with you to sell the property. So to that extent, our capacity to negotiate the fees is very, very marginal. We're not really in a position to negotiate the fees very much at all.
Right, so can you?
Look, if it helps you in this situation, we could do it for probably 3.3%, but we couldn't go below that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for doing that,
Okay.
Bruce. Yeah, thank you. When will the inspections be held? Because it's difficult for us really to leave the house before mid-morning. So when can you actually hold the inspections?
Look, we're flexible with you. We'll work in with you because ultimately it's your house. You've got to be feeling comfortable, and we want to present the house in its best possible way. So we'll work in with you with times that suit. And look, if afternoons work for you, for us to do the open homes, there are in this area that sometimes that's a better idea, especially with the sunsets that you get at this area in the afternoon sun, so people can see, especially with the back deck area, great entertaining area. It's not a bad time to show that off. So we'll work in with you, and we'll make sure that whatever times work for you, we can actually present the positives to the potential buyers.
Okay. Bruce, how will you let us know what happened at the inspection? We usually have dinner about at 6 p.m. and we don't like to be disturbed in the evening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, as a normal rule of thumb, Todd, most people who are trying to sell their property are very keen on finding out as soon as possible with what's going on. And the normal way we do that is that I would give you a call and contact you after I've completed inspections on the day of the open house, and give you an update on the number of people who came through and the feedback and that sort of thing. However, if that's not going to fit with you, we can also put I can quite happily put that into an email and send it to you as an email at the end of the day.
Sure.
And then you can consider it overnight or in the next day. And if you've got any questions, you can come back to me.
Okay. For the information you tell us verbally, can you also email the information to our daughter? My husband is worried, my wife is worried that sometimes she doesn't hear very well.
Yeah.
So would that be okay?
Look, there's no problems at all. We can either give you a verbal response, we can give you a written response, we can do both. And realistically, with giving information to a third party, in this case your daughter, all you have to do is give us the authority to do that, and we're more than happy to provide the information to whoever you choose.
Yep, sure. Basically, with private inspections, can they take place around lunchtime? Because most of the time, at that time, we'll be out at that lunchtime period. And if you're not able to attend, how are you going to be able to, cover that?
Yeah, look, Todd, good question again. Look, we're here to work with you. Unfortunately, choosing the middle of the day is a time that a lot of people like to do inspections because it actually fits in with their working life and being able to get time off to come and do inspections. So, look, we'll make every endeavour, and I'll make every endeavour that I'm here to do the inspections. But if for some reason I've already made commitments to be somewhere else, and the potential buyer still wants to do an inspection, we'll have another member of the team will actually come and do the inspection on my behalf, and that person will already know the property and have inspected the property prior with me anyway. So they'll actually know a bit about the property. They won't be just coming in and just walking around for the first time.
Fantastic.
And look, if it works out, quite seriously, if it works out and I can be present and it's beneficial for me to be present to do your inspection as opposed to the other one that I've cross-referenced, we can probably arrange for the other person from our office to handle the other inspection while I do yours.
That's great, Bruce. No, okay, that's great that you did that. Well, that's good. All right. So where do we go from here, Bruce?
Well, in simplified terms, Todd, we're just into a situation that if you're wanting to proceed, then we've got to do what's called the Form 6, which is actually our listing authority.
Right.
So I'll just go through these points with you on the Form 6 so that you can be totally understanding what we're actually doing right now when we get to the finish of this. So the first thing we've got to look for, first thing on this form that we're looking at is what's called Part 3. And that's where we have got the property details, where we put in the proper property details. Now, in relation to the property details, we've already done a current title search for you.
Yes.
So the idea of that is that the property details on the listing authority will match perfectly with a current title search. So if someone else does a title search, which they're quite entitled to do if they're looking at buying the property, they'll see that the information on the title search matches up with what we've listed here in Part 3.
Okay.
In Part 4, which is Section 2 of that, which is very important, it talks about the term of appointment. We've talked also about exclusive agencies. So Part 4 means we're getting into a situation where term of appointment, exclusive agency, 90 days. So that's what that says there, which is what we've already agreed.
Yep.
If we look at Part 4, Section 3, which follows on from there, that's where we put the price.
Yep.
You'll see that even though we've been talking about a price range, or we've been talking about a target figure of about $750,000, we're listing here on the actual form